morning everyone, welcome back to the channel and a new video on Chris's classic Ha Viva. Today we are going to pick up pretty much where we left off in the last video. So let's crack on and get that head stripped down. So as you would have seen on that piece of time lapse there, Chris completely stripped down the whole head. Now he's under the impression that at some point this has been played with or had some work done. I'm just going to move that cardboard forward just so that we can see those springs nicely. If you look at those springs, it's probably quite hard to see on camera, but a couple of these are actually squashed down. They're a lot smaller than the others. So luckily he has bought those new valve springs and they'll be getting replaced. Also on the valve guides there is some indiscrepancies, and a couple of them are loose and a couple of them are really tight. So what we've decided to do is actually, Chris has been on the phone to them, we're going to go and drop this head off to Thankyou Engine Centre, and they're actually going to rework the whole head, put all new valve guides in it, harden seats for the new valves, we've got the replacement valves there, and basically overhaul this whole head so it should come back like new. Let's get down there, get it dropped off and see what they're all about.
Those two there, Rob,
yeah,
that's just where it's been sat.
Where it's been sat, yeah. And the valves have been opened. They've obviously been compressed for a long period of time, obviously, years. 10 years, yeah. So they've been compressed, and when it's let off, they've not recovered. You can see the coil. Let me try and stick them on that grey actually. You can just see the difference in the height of the coils, and you can also see the gaps in between the coils as well. That one there, you can see where it's actually failed there. So let's get down to the Thankyou Engine Centre, and hopefully we should be able to go in there with a bit of luck and have a see what it is that they do down there. Arrived at Thankyou Engine Centre. Chris is just carrying the head in there now. We have just asked, unfortunately the guy is very busy at the moment, but he has agreed that when we come back to collect the head, he's going to do a bit of explaining of what they do here and show us some of the machines that they use and explain what they have done to the head complete. So fingers crossed when we come back and collect it, we'll pick up some pretty good footage and give you a nice insight to what they actually do to the head, and hopefully see some of the machines that do that work. So the head's dropped off, and he said it could take up to a couple of weeks. So we just got to wait to hear back now. It's with the professionals, and I'm sure that it's going to come out lovely. So for those of you that don't know, Chris does have a parts car. Same car, Ha Viva. And some of you eagle-eyed people out there will know that this is actually the high compression car, and this did have a disc brake conversion from new. And Chris is going to be using that other Viva. So this is the car that he's took the subframe out of, that he's going to rebuild, because it has already got that disc brake conversion. Let's move on to that and start stripping that down, ready to make look like new again. So on that bit of time lapse there, you would have seen Chris taking apart these uprights, steering clamps and the hubs. They're now all stripped down. He's taped all these up so that when they get blasted, obviously it does protect the actual stem itself. Got all the nuts, bolts and bearings in there. All of the other parts, the front subframe itself, the lower arms, the leaf spring, everything there is ready to go down the blasters. So we're going to go and get them dropped off, come back and we're going to start on the brake calipers. And there's a before and after on the brake calipers. I'm not going to touch that one because it is in its raw state now. I don't want to put any moisture or grease onto it, but you could see a little bit of Chris operating the old press there, trying to press these out. He's cleaned these up and he said they're just too pitted, so he's actually ordered new pistons and new seals. The seals are here, aren't they? Yeah. We're waiting for the pistons. So he's just going to move on and get that one done as well. He has actually done these himself in our little cabinet. It's just, he'd rather do little things like that than take them down. It's quite powerful, their machine, and he don't really want to obliterate them. So little bits like this he has been doing himself, and I think you've even got a basket of other little bits and pieces there.
Hubs. All
All the hubs and other bits and pieces that he's going to be doing himself, but he is really moving along with it. And there it is, all complete. The piece of wood is in there just holding the brake pads in place, obviously because we've got no discs yet, but they really did clean up nice. All new seals, gaskets, everything, it's all in there and all done. So it's been a few hours now, but Chris has nailed a load more of them parts. He's got his main leaf spring there. Is that called a leaf spring, Chris? Yeah. Even though it is that yeah. It's just one spring, isn't it, for that subframe there, that holds the steering rack, all of, basically, that holds everything, doesn't it? Upper, lower arms, the lot. Yeah. But everything, the stub axles there, swivels, whatever you'd like to call them, all the upper arms, lower arms, everything's done and looks really, really nice. It's going to be a showpiece, mate, when it's done. Let's move on. And there it is, mostly back together. And what a work of art that does look. I did say when we was out at the other car, he's going to make it look brand new, and I think he's definitely achieved that. There is still a couple of bits to go on this. The shocks, the leaf spring, the hubs, the discs. But guys, drop your comments in the comment section. Let us know what you think of that. Chris has done all of that himself, and I'd really, really like to hear your feedback. Just look how lovely that's all come out. And their new flexes, They're the original brake calipers, but they got new pads in them, new bearings, new pistons, new seals. Everything on there is new now. All of those bolts, I don't know if I mentioned that. I did mention that in the first video. He actually found a company and ordered all of the correct size bolts and replaced all of them. The steering rack is still got to go on there, obviously. I don't know if I've just mentioned that. We've got new track rod ends on there. The wheels, Chris had 5 of those blasted. They've all been painted and they are all like new now. I know that I did miss out the blasting, but for those of you that do know, I appreciate a lot of you don't. When you do have something blasted, the slightest bit of moisture, you don't even need moisture, it starts to rust immediately. So Chris brought them back here once they was done and he's painted them straight away. You can see he hasn't painted these, he's just primed them, and that was to take them out of their raw state because they won't last 5 minutes. So unfortunately we had to miss that bit out. You got both the manifolds there, one for the low compression engine or normal compression and one for the high compression. Those little cooling fan blades, again they look like new. The pulley, the engine mounts, the sump, rocker cover, oil filler house, it's all there guys, and it all looks incredible. It really has come up nice. Chris is trying to get this all finished, but he is waiting for a couple of other little bits. Is it right to show these on the bench, Chris? There's nothing there with the address on, is there? That's those cam chain covers, inlet manifold, and the hubs.
Yeah.
And these are the brackets to hold the leaf spring in, aren't they?
That's right.
Yeah. And he's all set up here, ready to put the new bearing and the new seal in there. So we're going to now move inside and onto the steering rack, but here's all those bolts he bought. They're all there. We'll keep it rolling and come straight in. Now I know that Chris did have a little bit of a problem with the steering rack, and that's kind of why we're where it's at now, and we haven't continued on with it. One of these bearings, it's actually that one. You can probably hear that on camera. It's crunchy, it's shot, it's knackered. And I was quite impressed with it. You know, Chris does work his way around everything. So that bearing was actually sunk in the bottom of there. Chris, correct me if I'm wrong in any way.
Yeah, blind.
It was blind, and it was, you couldn't really get it out. There was no way of getting it out. So what he done was compromised as usual. He's drilled 2 holes in the bottom of it to push it out. He's then run a thread down them and created these little bolts, cut them down to size, and you're putting a copper washer on them, aren't you? And he's just bolt them back in there and it blanks it back off. So it's basically a non-serviceable part, so to speak, and he's managing to save it. So all of the other parts are laid out there. He's just been going through, cleaning them up, getting it ready, but most of all, getting that bearing out so that he can get it sized up and order a new one. So he really is moving along with it, and I'll be honest, I never expected it to move along that fast, but also please appreciate in this video, I do pop in on a Saturday and a Sunday, and Chris says, Rob, pop down, I've got a bit for you to video. And you know, it's kind of, this video altogether has probably been over the space of 3 weeks, maybe? Yeah, it's 3 weeks since the last one. So this video is little bits here, little bits there. So I do hope that you do enjoy it. So we have come to a little bit of a standstill on the subframe, just waiting for those other little parts to come in before that can be completed. And again, on the engine, the head is down at Fanuc engines, and we can't really get on with the engine until that's come back. Then we can start the assembly process. But Chris was actually working on this today, and I said, please leave that out exactly how it is, because a lot of people would be interested in what's actually going on here with like a bit of an upgrade really. So the distributor, this is one of the distributors here, all stripped down. You've got your points, condenser, rotor arm, vacuum diaphragm, and basically the shaft. And inside the shaft there, you can probably see those weights. It's like centrifugal. So as this spins round, those weights fly outwards and alter the timing. So that's pretty much old school, and what we're doing is upgrading it to an electronic ignition. So it looks very, very similar, but it's not. This has got like a Hall effect trigger, and it's done away with, basically it does away with everything. The points condenser, it's all gone. And the plan is to actually upgrade this one when we get round to that as well. And the reason Chris has stripped it down is so that he can get the cover off. You wouldn't call that a cover, the body off, because he needs to blast it and get it painted. As you can see, this one has all been done. I noticed in the first video so many comments about the end of this shaft. Did you notice them in there? A lot of people said this is a very common fault, the bottom of these shafts, but thankfully Chris has got two really good ones, and we know that this one is really low mileage. So yeah, let me know in the comments section what you think about that. Guys, this video, please do appreciate, it's been done over, is it 2 or 3 weeks, Chris? It must
Nearly
be
3.
Nearly 3 weeks. Chris has been doing little bits on Saturdays and Sundays, and quite often he's here in the evenings till 7, and in the summer in particular, I know some nights he does work till 10 o'clock, but that's another story. He has been doing bits here, bits there, and of course he's been sending me bits of time lapse, and I've been coming in filming bits and pieces of it. So we really have done our best to put this together, and I really do hope you enjoy it. There was a lot more interest in the Viva than we was ever expecting. People really have took to the videos, and I'm not going to lie, it wasn't my cup of tea in the beginning. I said to Chris, like, a Viva, really? And it's really growing on me. Sitting here now, I can't wait to drive this car. I really can't. And it's going to be like a new car when it's finished. It's already quite a long video, so we are going to cut it there. If you haven't already, follow us on Instagram, where we put out little sneak peeks throughout the day to let you know what we're up to. Like, subscribe and share. Check out the merchandise. The link is in the description. And of course, while quite a lot of you are furloughed or off work, we have a huge back catalogue of over 250 videos. Feel free to go back and have a look through those. We'll see you all very, very soon in the next one.